Assalamu alaikum, good morning. The last time I pretended to be tech savvy, I had a disaster because I'm quite a tech moron, I need to admit. And my favorite app on my phone is Notes, but I wrote a speech on Notes, and then I think somewhere in my head I thought, no, you cannot take your phone to the dice, and I left it at the table. But this time around I brought my phone. There was a bit of disruption that I wanted to create with something that I wanted to share with you. Yes, can we just play that? With sound, maybe? There's sound?
दोस्तों और अजीजों के लिए रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ जिनको मेरी कुछ आज़ेबा और
मोहम्मद राहत ख्वाजा साहब
अंकल को बुला लेते हैं ना शो पे।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਆਸੀਆ ਦੀ ਆਖਰੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਵੇਖੀ ਸੀ?
आप वही है ना जिनकी वीडियो आजकल फेसबुक पे चल रही है।
नाता पढ़ पढ़ के की इमेज बनाया उन्हें अपना।
इस गंदे आंडे नूं महल्ले चों कढ़ना पएगा।
सदफ मेरे से सीधे मुंह बात नहीं करती, मोहल्ले वालों ने सलाम दुआ भी छोड़ दी है।
शायद आप माफ़ी मांग लें तो सब ठीक हो जाएगा।
अम्मी का है।
क्या हुआ?
अम्मी।
ਦੱਸਿਆ ਤੇ ਸੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਦਾ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਹੈ।
ਇਹ ਕੌਣ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ?
ਖਾਸਾ ਯਾਰ ਬੇਲੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਲੋਕ।
बकवास ना कर।
मरासी और भांडों की तरह तमाशा लगाया हुआ था आपने सबके सामने।
कोई शर्म, कोई अफसोस नहीं है।
मेरी वीडियो तू बनाई सी? हाँ। ते जेड़े बॉल करदे ने ओ
मैं तेरे पासे बढ़ जाएगा।
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਬਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਹੈ 5 ਟਾਈਮ ਦੀ ਨਮਾਜ਼ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਸ਼ੈ ਦੀ ਪਾਬੰਦੀ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ?
सदा
लगता समझिया नहीं, एहसास नहीं है तेन अपनी गलती का। मामा नाराज
The idea was to disrupt with good news that as opposed to the hellish 2.5 years with the release being stalled and how the social media took over and declared that the film was banned, which was contrary to the truth, we are releasing this film after Eid this year all across Pakistan, inshallah. All right, I'll try and be coherent. I'm really bad with written speeches. I've written some points. Shekhar Kapoor is one of my most favorite filmmakers. He really put South Asian filmmakers on the international map with Bandit Queen, and then went on to direct great films like Elizabeth and The Four Feathers. He has a take on the famous saying by Descartes where he says, "I think, therefore I am." Shekhar says, "I dream, therefore I am." And I feel that's so important in life to, yes, be aware of your reality, of the ground that you stand on, but at the same time, not to limit yourself to the spatio-temporal circles that we are in. Dreams is what makes us do stuff. Dreams are important to help us embark on journeys that we all embark on and achieve or fail sometimes. When I was invited here, I wasn't sure. I'm a really bad example of an entrepreneur. I would like to call myself an artist. And I have just started a small business a few years ago, which was basically with the intent to break free from the shackles of the mainstream of TV, which just started boring me, just adhering to the formula that TV has set as the potion for success, just started stifling me. And in some moment of reflection, I think something that gave me solace and faith was that of all the things in the world, originality is the most disruptive. Just being original, being honest, just telling your story is the nicest, the rightest kind of disruption that one can create. Now, coming to stories, I feel telling the story is as inherent, it is as innate as any other basic instinct, any other human capacity. It goes all the way back to the Stone Age, to folklores, to literature, to art, and now to cinema, and in the digital age, as we call it, content and whatnot, you know. So at the end of the day, what we're telling or saying or doing, I feel, is a story. And in the world of storytelling, there is a fact, not a myth, that everyone has at least one good story to tell. Always. There's always one good story. All of us. And why would that story be good? Because that is your story. And if you tell it, it will be unique, it will be original, it will be yours. And if you tell it with honesty, it will be a story well told. Now, coming to how sometimes life creates disruptions in the passage that you have to walk while you're telling your story. In filmmaking or in theater, we call all stories acts. They're divided into 3 acts. There's a setup, there is the middle act, and then there's the climax, which leads to the resolution. And I feel there are no good stories without proper conflicts. And when you're telling a story, there are always conflicts. Now, my little journey with telling my story was making films with independence, making films that mattered to me, sounds and visuals that were personal to me. And then when something like what happened to Zindagi Tamasha happened, it was a long drawn series of unfortunate events, but mostly I discovered how technology and cyberspace has completely taken over in the right and the wrong ways, where things can be more horrific than real, where things can be happier than real. And I think as sad and bad as the pandemic was, it just gave us time, gave me time to process how things were developing and growing. And the digital age, which gave freedom to so many of us, which gave freedom to filmmakers like me, power to filmmakers like me, that technology is affordable. Technology is where you are now discovering so many other horizons that we were not even aware of. Now it's not even supposed to be just filmmaking in studios. Now you can do stuff with machines and softwares and whatnot. But it made me realize that there is a key that we are missing. There is something that needs to be tamed and controlled. The anxiety, the technology and the cyber world, the rush, the haste, the quick brew, the 2-minute noodle that's happening. And now linking it back to telling my story, I realized how important it was to brew my story, to let it brew slowly, to process disruptions that I did not intend to take. And in order to create the right kind of disruptions that I need to make, the key is just taking care of my anxiety that is it's such a part and parcel of everyday life. And that calmed me. That helped me value process. That helped me grieve disruptions that were not meant to be taken in the stride, or at least I had not planned to take them in the stride. I'll cut to the third act of my story over the last 2 years. So when Zindagi Tamasha got banned, and it was a financial crisis, it was an artistic crisis, it was a crisis on so many levels, but that spirit stayed alive. And when this year we took Joyland to Cannes and shared another honest, heartfelt story with the world, we knew it mattered. It mattered to us, it mattered to them. In the 75 years history of Pakistan, no film had been officially selected, let alone we were not only selected, we ended up winning the grand jury prize there. And my director, I'm one of the producers of the film only, I didn't direct it. He was just making a small speech before the screening of the film, and something just hit me really, really badly. And as another important lesson, connecting it back to the slow brew, he said it took him 7 years to write it. That's as long as it can take to tell a good story. So your story could be your business. Your story could be your idea. Your story could be just something that gets you money, or success, or fame, or all of it, or some artistic achievement. But if at all I have to, say, give a little small pearl of wisdom that I have also stolen from somewhere, is how to believe in the process and let it brew slowly. This haste, and your story is not your Insta story, trust me. It is called Insta for a reason. So, as much as we like to enjoy what's happening in the cyberspace, I would still say that irrespective of your line of work, as far as you believe in your story, you have faith in yourself, give it time. Let it brew. It's always nicer when it is brewed properly. So please go ahead, tell your stories to the world, and I'm sure it will be a very good story if it's told with honesty. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, John. Thank you, Katalyst, and thank you, Disrupt.